Hey, this is Ervin V. Griffin Jr., and the image in front of you is not me as an older man. I don't talk about my personal life that much when I'm here on YouTube. I like to stick to the topic. But today, a family member is the topic. You notice that my name is Ervin V. Griffin Jr., and these days, that's what usually I introduce myself as. On occasion, I'll bring Mr. Griffin, my more unfiltered alter ego, back. But not for this one. This one is actually on Dr. Ervin Griffin. And in case you're wondering, you said, oh, so you're named after this man. That's partially the point, but it's more to the point. You see the name Junior? Yeah, this is Senior. And recently he was in a magazine called Diverse. In fact, he's on the cover, called Diverse Issues in Higher Education. And if you want to find more about the article or even about what Diverse covers, you can go to www.diverseeducation.com. But I'm going to read parts of the article. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can look it up there. And they also have a Facebook and Twitter page. For the past decade, Dr. Ervin Griffin has served as president and CEO of Halifax Community College. Although Weldon, North Carolina, has been a majority minority town for some time, the college hasn't seen a black president in 40 years before Mr. Griffin assumed the position. When I say Mr. Griffin in this case, I'm referring to my father, according to the institution. In 2006, Griffin brought to Halifax a wealth of experience in community college education, rooted in his role as a coordinator at Southwest Virginia Community College, dating back to 1979. Quote, I suppose I could have gone into another arena, but once I got into community college education, I realized that it fit who I was and the way I wanted to help people. And it also allows me to help people where they are and take them as far as they want to go, unquote. The article goes on to say, the spirit is likely cemented in his upbringing. While his parents did not pursue education beyond high school, they wanted all 9 of their children to go further. My father goes on to say, quote, they both had a very abiding respect in the power of education, unquote. Growing up in Coldwood, West Virginia, his academic path was guided by a longing to present himself in a professional manner. Quote, my daddy and them were in the coal mines, and they came home with dust and everything on them. They made good money, but that was not what I wanted to do, unquote. While he admired preachers who wore suits every day, Griffin looked toward a career in education because of his respect for one of his elementary school teachers. In addition, his uncle James served as his math instructor in high school. So, quote, teaching was in my blood, unquote. May, on a side note, he tried to get me into education, but I decided to go another path, which is broadcasting, which is what I work at professionally, and this is kind of where I got the bug to do YouTube videos and such. But I guess as I get older, the more professional side of me is coming out, and why I've chosen to go a more cleaner route, though, like I said, occasionally Mr. Griffin does pop up, but that's another whole nother thing. Anyway, back to this. At Bluefield State College, he earned a bachelor's degree in secondary education in 1971. And may I also note, that's where he met my mother, and she's also in education. I should note. His ultimate goal was to be a college president. Quote, but I didn't say it out loud until later on, unquote, he says. With that in mind, and being surrounded by black role models, both administrators and fraternity brothers, he realized he must continue his academic pursuits and, in his words, get those experiences necessary to move into the highest level of administration. Mr. Griffin attended Western Illinois University, earning a master's in counseling and college student personnel services in 1974. He obtained a doctorate degree in community college education from Virginia Tech in 1980. Should also note, he also spent time at Patrick Henry Community College as their vice president of student affairs. My father's longest tenure was at West Virginia State Community College. Over the course of more than 17 years, he worked to climb the ranks from vice president for student affairs to provost and chief operating officer, and eventually president of the university, which he held until from 2005-2006. It was in 2006 he decided to leave that role and take over the role of president in Halifax Community College, a role that he still holds even today. In addition to his weekly hours, my dad also hosts at least 2 forums each semester, quote, to see how students are doing and to give them the opportunity to say anything they need to say to me and my staff, unquote. What has also been consistent throughout his career is that, quote, I've always tried to make sure that I leave a place better than I found it. I always like the next person who follows me to have a glass almost full so that they can come in and do some of the things and build on what I've done, unquote. So yes, Mr. Griffin's spotlight, even though most of the time I highlight other YouTubers, particularly African American ones, although there are a few ones that are not black that I highlight, particularly for my love of wrestling, such as when I highlighted We Are Pro Wrestling or James Williams. But I don't limit myself to that. And this is the first one that I've done on an individual. And I was wondering if I should even do this one at all, considering this is someone from my family, and considering that I prefer to keep my life pretty private, except for real close friends, which I can count on one hand. But in this case, I felt the need to show this because more African American positive role models need to be put forth. Now, I know I'll probably get some haters and stuff for this video, but you know what? Forget that, because we are not all thugs. We are not all gangsters. There are men who are not spotlighted, such as my father, who are out here actually trying to do positive work. There's even men my age and younger. And if I run across them and I see the good they're doing outweighs the bad, they may find themselves here too. Anyway, if you want to know more about my father, you can go to Halifax Community College's website. And if you want this article, or just to read up on what Diverse is all about, go to www.diverseeducation.com. Anyway, that's it for Mr. Griffin's Spotlight. I'm Ervin V. Griffin Jr. You have a nice day, folks.